Oh, yeah. Well, I hope I never have to all that 5 years ago, I fell off the top on the asphalt, broke my left leg, trying to patch that leak through. I wasn't going to do it. I was just getting the supplies up there, and they raised it up on one of those fiber things. You know, wood pallet, forks go through a wood pallet, and fiber things. Well, when I pulled the heavy lifts again off the outside of the pallet slipped me to the ground. I mean, I didn't, and I fell, but obviously that's why, because I didn't. Oh, there's that personal report I have. You have to put the next year. Oh, yeah, I went to the hospital, but yeah, so I don't hardly come around anymore. Try to stick around. Hey, Marty. Yeah, so now, I mean, it healed. Right, so I can set in that ankle. So I can feel it on the right. Or, you know, and then like, there'll be times in the morning I get out of bed, the first 4 or 5 steps, they hurt, it hurts. But it loosens up and it's okay. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I can tell you when I feel like, I don't know, it's not necessarily right, pressure, or whatever. I can say, oh, it's going to rain today. I can feel it in the morning when I get up. No. I know, I mean, I've been given a new challenge. I should use my and when I had a daily, we used to come to the wedding, so like a 3-day thing. So we only come out twice a week. Well, the way they change is what's weather every day. By the time I get it changed twice, the post office don't work very good here. That I worked with the past, if I had it here at 6 in the morning, so put it out that day. Supposedly, we don't have it there at like 2 o'clock the day before. They won't put it out the next morning. Or the next whole day. The head guy goes on too. It ain't here, our paperwork and our paper on that. He can do whatever he's got to do. They don't know what to do. They will have to I think every other thing I've always worked with. They don't that's not been seen a couple times. Oh, yeah.
We're lost. Had 4 viewers. Now we're down to 2. That's the break.
No.
I'll go get them.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I could ask you to take your seats. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lieutenant Colonel Shannon. I'm the Senior Marine Instructor at Sepulpa High School for the JROTC. I'd like to welcome you and thank you for coming to the dedication for the Major Jerry Swepston Marine Corps JROTC training facility. It's through the generous donations and gifts of this broader community that has enabled this facility to be built for our cadets. I'd like to ask all of you to stand for the presentation of the colors, the singing of the national anthem, and I'd like to ask you to remain standing until the color guard has retired the colors.
Forward, arm. Arm. Color. Hold. Breathing. Color.
I belong to thee, I was so proudly reared, at the twilight's last gleam, and bright stars through the perilous sky, for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streamed, and the rugged segment of thirsty air came through the night, and our flag was still there. Oh, sing us that star-stained glow, banner yet wave. For the land of the free and the home of the
Carry. Color. Ready. Cut. Forward. Arm. Color. Hold. Order. Colors. Ready. Cut. Right. Face. Forward. March.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. It is my honor to introduce the President of the Sepulpa Chamber of Commerce, Ms. Janet Curry.
Hello there. This is really exciting. What a wonderful facility. And it's wonderful that we can honor Sepulpa's treasure, Major Swepston. This is great. And thank you all for coming for this. Right now, I would like for all of our ambassadors, for everybody that was involved in this project to come up here because we're going to cut the ribbon on this. So come on forward. We're going to stretch that ribbon as far as we can and get everybody into this wonderful picture. I know there's a lot of people in the community involved with raising money for this, and that's just amazing. Also, how about a round of applause for the jazz choir? Were they awesome? So we're just gonna we got Mike up here, we're gonna stretch that ribbon. Anybody else that was involved here, stretch together? Okay, Mike will have instructions for you, so listen to Mike.
1, 2, 3, cut.
It is my honor to first introduce the Superintendent of Sapulpa Public Schools, Mr. Rob Armstrong.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel William Shannon. I'd also like to introduce Master Sergeant John Kitchen. Master Sergeant, he's in the back. Would you please wave it? Everybody would give both these two individuals a round of applause too. I'd also like to thank our chamber ambassadors, Janet Burney and her crew. Thank you for coming out today. Again, thank you. Hello and good afternoon. It's an honor to be here, and it's something that I've been looking forward to for several months. In a little over 2 weeks, we will honor our military veterans for their service. If you are a military veteran, will you please stand to be recognized at this time? Military veterans. Thank you. Ronald Reagan said, "Some people spend an entire lifetime wondering if they made a difference in the world. But the Marines don't have that problem." He must have been talking about Major Jerry Swepson. Now, did you know President Reagan?
Yes.
This wasn't a personal friend. This facility is the result of the hard work and tremendous dedication of Major Swepson. He came to Sapulpa Public Schools more than a quarter of a century ago as a recently retired Marine and promised to build a Marine Corps JROTC program in our district. And as our district's first JROTC instructor, he certainly made good on that promise. We are so incredibly proud of this program, which is growing every year. 80 to 100 students enroll each year. They are learning important skills, character traits, and discipline that will carry them through the rest of their lives. They have achieved national shooting championships, three national shooting championships, and won or placed at every local, state, and regional drill competition. They are preparing to become productive citizens and future leaders in our community, our state, and our country. Many of them will go on to serve in our nation's military. Major Swepson saw a need for these cadets to practice their drills and train while protected from the elements. He spearheaded the fundraising for this drill hall single-handedly, putting in the work over months and months to raise $175,000 to build this 4,800 square foot building that we are all standing in today. He not only secured the funding, but worked to draw up the plans for it and found the contractors to build it. I do remember him coming to me and saying, "I've got this project. You're not going to have to worry about it." And then, of course, that was prior to the Great Flood. Right? We won't go into those details too much. So he secured the funding, but worked to draw up the plans, the contractors, and the best part is this can be movable and can go with us onto another spot on this campus when our new high school is built. Retired Lieutenant Colonel John Mark Young, who is here today, spoke before the school board late last year and requested this facility be named for Major Swepson because of the Major's outstanding commitment to the school district and his lasting influence on our cadets and this JROTC program. Lieutenant Colonel Young wrote in his letter to the board, and I quote, "Major Swepson richly deserves the credit for launching this program and making all of its progress possible." And we agree. I did visit with Lieutenant Colonel John Mark Young just a moment ago, and He asked if he could say a few words, and so this time I'm going to ask if he would like to still come up and make a few comments about our program and Major Swepston.
I just want everyone to know something about the legacy that this school has with the Marine Corps in service to our country. When I was a little boy, I was influenced to be a Marine by my uncles, and they graduated from Sapulpa High School in 1940 and 1941, and went on to serve in the Pacific in Guadalcanal, Saipan, Tinian, and Okinawa, and David Young later went on to serve in Korea. They had a son, Glenn A. had a son who was a Marine, and he was actually killed in Vietnam. But I was influenced to be a Marine by them. And when I was in the reserves in Tulsa, over a quarter century ago, we had an announcement, and they said, does anybody know any schools that would like to have a Marine ROTC program? And I thought, well, I'll go back to Sapulpa High School and see if the principal, who was a friend of mine at the time, would want to have one. And he said, when they hired me, they asked me what was my vision for Sapulpa High School, and I told them I'd like to put a military ROTC unit here. And here I am showing up to him, and so he was pleased to accept it. We had meetings with the school board, they adopted it, and the next thing I know, one day some guy comes into my office, looked a lot like him, and said that he had been sent by the Marine Corps to come down here and be in charge of the new military ROTC unit. And I am so proud of the legacy. That's 25 years ago, obviously. And we have this still yet. And now this big building. And I think that's I'm so happy to be able to pass this legacy on to our school and the students out here that are part of this school, that carry on this legacy to help protect and defend our country. And then our school can be a part of it, sponsor them. I think it's wonderful. And I thank you all that are having something to do with it. Thank you.
Major Swepston, we cannot thank you enough, and all the donors that you have provided to us today. Thank you for making this dream a reality for our cadets. Thank you for making a difference in your lifetime and the lifetimes of our young people. Jerry Swepston, well done, friend. You have made a difference. And the one thing that I, not only as a colleague, but as a friend, Jerry Swepston would be remarkable with anything he did. Whether it's fundraising for this building, being a member of our school community or our community at large, he's just the right person to be around. And always so very pleasant, always so very upbeat and positive. If our community and our school districts were made of men like Jerry Swepston, all of our lives would be so much easier and so much more productive. And I certainly, as a friend, just love you and thank you for everything you've done. Thanks, sir. Thank you. Next, I would like to introduce our high school principal, Mr. Seth Shipley. He has a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Armstrong. I want to start by expressing my gratitude to all of the donors who contributed to this endeavor, and thank you for taking the time to attend today. Your presence here during the school day allows you to see the reason this building was built, which is our students. Those two words, our students, concisely sums up the focus of Major Swepston's distinguished career here at Sapulpa High School. Whether he was teaching a class, conducting an assembly, taking kids out of state to a competition, or building an indoor facility, his focus was always on what was best for our students. That was his focus, and that's still his focus today, even after his retirement. Major Swepston epitomized the best of public education. He has a servant's heart. He was known for taking kids where they were at, regardless of their home life or their prior experiences, and making them into something better than how they arrived. There is no one more deserving of this recognition than him. It is my honor to introduce Major Jerry Swepson.
You know, this is home. And that's hard for a Marine to say. Because wherever we are, wherever we're doing, we always figure it out before we get there. And then we do a little bit of adjustment and we move right on. But this is truly humbling. Thank you so much for coming. Look out over it. I tried to get around and hug as many pretty women's neck as I could. I missed you. Just line up after it's over. I remember one time at a veterans assembly, we had some general and 2 Army Vietnam veterans there. And my instructions at the end of the assembly to the kids were, don't you leave without hugging one of these guys' neck. Probably wasn't a real good thing to say because they did line up down the center aisle of the auditorium, and Mr. Shibley is trying to get them to go to 3rd or 4th hour. But Major Swepson said we could hug their necks. After that was over, well, that was Medal of Honor recipients. We had 3 of them here in one day. And after it was finally over, the kids were finally out, they said, we have never had a reception like we've had here at Sepulveda High School. I said, that's because we love you. Love you. I'm going to work really hard here to not mention one name because I know I'll screw it up and I'll forget somebody, so I'm not going to do that. All I want you to know is that when I stood in front of your desk or at your front door of your house or wherever I was asking for money for these kids to build this facility, when you answered the door or you said yes, or some of you, I didn't even get to your house, you called me and said, I need to give you some money for those kids. Even had people in the community call me and say, I've got a guy down here with $100, an old veteran that's come through town and just happens to be eating, and he's got $100 he wants to give you. Well, I would quickly get dressed and take off and get down there. And I think one day I made 3 or 4 different trips. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for the donations that you made for these kids. We have some former cadets here today, and I promised them for 20 years that I was going to get a building done. And finally, after I retired, it happened. And I want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. That this is able because of you, and it takes funds to do it. And there's a lot of people here that didn't provide financial aid, but they were there to kick me in the butt whenever I started feeling down or upset because I wasn't meeting goal, what I thought I needed to have in order to build the building. So they would smack me on the shoulder, or kick me in the rear, one or the other, and say, what are you doing this for? Oh, that's right, the kids. Yes, sir. I'll get back in. And so I want to thank you for, man, it was a whirlwind. I never thought that it would go that fast. But God Almighty, there's an old Marine saying that he loves old drunks and Marines. And so every time I turned around, I felt the blessings of God. And thankful to him for everything that he did during this whole whirlwind building process. I want to accept this dedication on behalf of my wife, Donna, passed away in February, and my two daughters, Robin and Dawn. I met her 78 or 79, I never could figure it out. But she followed me all over the world. Accomplished musician, fantastic singer. But she never did say, what about me? She let me be a Marine. I would leave to take care of the family. And then finally, I was going to retire, didn't make lieutenant colonel, so I was mad at God, the Marine Corps, her, anybody else that I could think of, because I wasn't going to get to stay in the Marine Corps. But she hugged me, prayed for me, and said, it's going to be okay. I think I got mad at her for that too. This is what I prayed. But God had a special plan. I had a master sergeant came by one day. I was in Memphis at a squadron there, and he said, sir, have you ever heard of JROTC? No. He said, well, I'm going to bring you some paperwork on that. Because I love being with the young Marines all the time. And he brought me that paperwork, and within 2 weeks, I was certified to teach Marine JROTC. And my group commander, a colonel, he said, I just used to run that program. Why don't you get, I said, I want to go to Oklahoma. They had a place called Sampaloopa, Oklahoma, Washington, D.C. Club. And so I drove out here and met with the principal, and we hit it off. So I went right from 2 days, put the uniform back on, and went to work here in 1996. So all of a sudden, I'm not retired again, I'm a Marine again. And LaDonna just smiled. I said, we're going home, but I'll get to be a Marine. So she's put in the back again. She let me travel all over the place. We took kids everywhere. I could find a place that would take teenagers. I would take them. And did that for 25 years. And then I finally retired 2 years ago in August. And where she's got all of these travel plans and things we're going to do. And I said, honey, you know, I think I'm going to build a building. Whatever. And so she let me go. I went all over the country, all over the county during COVID. Actually brought COVID home to her. My nickname was the super spreader. But I got it done. And she was there. And she was in the background. And anytime I would get discouraged, she was the first one to let me know that this was going to work, this was going to happen. And so, on behalf of her, I accept this dedication of the building. For she and my daughters, Robin and Dawn, they didn't know. They followed me around and let me. And let me be the Marine for 49 years. And they provided me with grandkids whenever they're coming out. People are not here today. They were supposed to be my grandkids in school. Important stuff. But I want to thank you and accept this dedication of the building on behalf of my family. And I guess this is pretty close to the end, but I have one other before they grab the microphone and take it away from me. One of the best friends I have in the world helped me out when I was mad at God and everybody else for not getting to be a Marine, and came here. And Master Sergeant Richard Williams up here on the front, Master Sergeant. Everything he did, and people thought I did all of that. Thank you, Tom.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the dedication, we have Major Jerry Swepson and Angela Forsman, who is the commander of the Sepulpa American Legion Post 36.
This for the colonel to put up in the building so the kids can see at a quick glance who every donor is listed on that line. And thank you. Thank you so much.
On behalf of the Sepulpa Public Schools Board of Education, we have one member here this afternoon, Melinda Ryan. It is our pleasure to dedicate this facility in the name of Major Jerry Swepson for Sepulpa Public Schools and for our high school here forever.
Thank you, certainly appreciate it. Thank you.
Now, as Principal Shibley mentioned just a few minutes ago, we're in kind of that awkward moment where school's getting ready to be dismissed. But we do have refreshments and cake and things that we would like for you to stay for. If you don't get out here in the next few minutes, then please stay with us for about 30 minutes. So stay put, stay here with us. Come up, his family, be with us until after our students leave at approximately about 10 after 3 o'clock, 3:10 or so. But thank you all, and thank you for making this a special day for Jerry, his family, and our school district. Thank you. Have a good day.
Hey, so Ronnie Jack.